back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time you are tuning in, my name is Alina and welcome to my channel. I hope you fall in love with the content that you're about to get, and you don't forget to hit the subscription button so that you don't miss out on future uploads.
Hi guys, so I'm not alone. I am with Allison, and Allison works here at the farm, Kinemiset Farm, and today she'll be taking us on a tour. She'll be showing us what she does daily, and trust me, you're gonna enjoy this talk because she's the best at what she does. So basically what she does, I'm not gonna say everything because I'm not really sure. So as part of the job, she is responsible for the flowers, the nice flowers that you see at the farm. She's responsible. She knows how to go about it. And then she's also like responsible for is it ecodrum?
The ecodrum composter.
Yay! For the ecodrum composter. So Allison will be taking us on a tour. Let's get started, guys. I can't wait. I'm not sure about you guys, but I can't wait.
All right. To the flowers.
Yay. And the other thing, guys, today I don't have anyone who will be holding the camera, so you won't see me that much on the screen. I'll be the one who's recording everything. So the man behind camera.
Welcome to our flower patch, everyone. This is where we grow a lot of our annual cut flowers for making flower bouquets. As you can see here, we grow our annual flowers under weed cloth, so we don't have to weed as much throughout the season. There's the little holes that are cut in there. So at the beginning of the year, we plant directly into this weed mat, and as you can see, there's really no weeds that we have to deal with in these rows. So that's the great thing about this section of flowers. It's mainly just annuals that we grow underneath the weed mat. So annuals are flowers that you will plant once a year and they do not come back. So this salvia would be a perennial if we were further south. But since we're north and it gets a little bit colder, this will actually die over the winter. So what I do in the flower patch is usually every few mornings I'll come out here and I'll make flower bouquets. It's a great way to start the day. So I'll teach you a little bit about how I cut certain flowers. This salvia right here, there's many different kinds of salvia. This one, we planted this year. It doesn't really hold up very well in flower bouquets. I noticed the petals fall off. So I usually don't pick that one for flower bouquets, but there's a salvia this way. So this one right here is also a salvia. I just happen to like this one a little better. So I just start by wandering around and picking out different flowers. Sometimes I'll harvest buckets of each individual flower and move them into the shed and then arrange them afterwards. But today we'll just do it one at a time, which sometimes I also do. So like this salvia here, when I'm making a flower bouquet, what I try and do is make the stem as long as I possibly can without damaging the flower. And that way people can cut them down if they need to, depending on the size of their jar. It's best to try and make it as tall as you can. So something like a salvia, what you're going to want to do, you could at this point cut this flower right where these two stems meet the larger stem. So if you cut it right there, then these would branch off and make a couple extra flowers. I don't really like how short that is, so I'm going to cut it a little bit longer. So I'm just sacrificing those couple of flowers. So I'll go down. You want to leave at least several sets of green leaves. So on this one, I'll probably cut it right here. You want to leave a decent amount of leaves, so that way this will branch off and make a couple more flowers. So get a couple of these.
I love how you're explaining it because I picked flowers last week and truly speaking, I wasn't really doing this.
Yeah. It's the best way to get more flowers. The more you cut your flowers, the more it will branch off. So if you cut it at where two leaves meet, most of the flowers, not all varieties, but most will actually grow two different stems from where you cut it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good to essentially prune your flowers. Now for something like this, in order for your flower bouquet to last longer, you want to get these bottom leaves off. You don't want all these leaves to be sitting in your flower vase. So I usually, hold the stem up here, grab with one finger and just rub the leaves all the wrong way, like that. And they generally come right off depending on your flower variety. So I'll hold it there. I like to leave a little bit of the leaves on. And then same with this one.
That looks
So
pretty.
that way those leaves would generally like rot in the water, make the water go bad faster. And that's the other thing. When you make a flower bouquet, you want to change your water every day. It'll make your flower bouquet last a lot longer. So these ones are pretty sturdy. There's some that you have to be a little bit more delicate with, like the zinnias, if we come over here.
Okay.
Hummingbird fight. Do you see that? Oh, our nigella might have seeds, actually. Yeah. All right, we got
Ooh.
seeds. Should I interrupt and do this now? Is
Do
that
your
fun?
thing. Do your thing.
So when I'm out in the flower patch, I generally take a look at, I always keep an eye on the seeds because all the seeds are produced at a different time of the year. So I didn't even know this one had seeds in it. So this is called nigella. So if you see, this is still a little green, this pod. You want to look for these dried out seed pods. So in the dried out seed pod, you can pull that open and shake out those little black seeds. So that's the seeds to the nigella. So you want to look for it to be dry and crunchy like that, but not too crunchy. See, this one is already broken and all the seeds have fallen out.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this nigella seed too is it's actually used in Indian cooking. So that's actually a spice as well.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So a lot of the times it'll be in traditional like naan breads. It almost tastes like oniony,
Like what?
like onions.
Onions, really?
But yeah,
Can I have a taste?
Try
Let me have a taste.
so that's an interesting one. It's like spicy. I think it tastes like onions. Maybe it tastes like flowers. I don't know.
It tastes good.
Actually, spice. A lot of flower seeds are different things. Like there's also saffron comes from a flower. Saffron is one of the pistons of a flower, which we don't grow here. So anyway, I'll probably come back later today and harvest all these pods and save those for seed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, wait. I wanted to ask you something, Allison. Can't you like cut the one that's still green, the pod that is still green, and then maybe like it will dry on itself like later on, or I'll be killing it?
Generally, that doesn't always work.
Okay.
So that I would only do that if it was, the end of the year and you were gonna get a frost.
Oh, yeah.
So like this one, let's see what's even in that one. A lot of the times you can, see those seeds are really green. Yeah, they have not matured. You want them to be as mature as possible. So like if you're saving a chili pepper seed, you don't want to save it out of a green pepper. You want to save it out of a fully ripened pepper.
Okay.
But there is a point, this one's way too green. Like something that's like slightly brownish. I mean, if it's the end of the year and you have to, it's not a bad idea to try. But yeah, you really want to wait for that to be like really brown. Because those will just rot, those seeds. They're too soft.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I got to come back and get that later. Okay, so then there's definitely some flowers that are a little bit more delicate than others, like zinnias. So these you can kind of grab anywhere on the stem. A zinnia, if you grab anywhere up here on this flower, even if you touch it like that, it won't wilt now, but it will in about an hour. So this part is really, really delicate on a zinnia. You never want to even touch it. And you won't notice. You'll make a flower bouquet and then it'll be wilted in about an hour. So just a little more careful on these. And the same thing with these. I try and get a long stem. Like this one right here has a little offshoot. So I'm going to cut it right there because it's a nice stem.
Okay.
And then just pick the bottom leaves off, like so. And there's lots of different colors of zinnias. There. That's why I think people like them. So they're a good filler flower. We got a lot of reds. Some
That
pink
looks so pretty.
ones.
Oh, wait, look at this one.
Yeah, that's just opening.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
They do, if you notice, get... The one thing I don't like about zinnias is they get on their leaves. It's not that bad this year, but that's a powdery mildew, which I don't really like on there. So that's the one bad thing. They tend to be a little bit powdery.
Okay.
And then behind us, there's certain flowers too. Like this one is called Status. This is a really good drying flower. So if you took this flower and hung it upside down, it would dry out and you could have a dried flower bouquet arrangement. So Status is one that you can do that with.
Oh, let me tell you something. I saw Theo. I think Theo has like a bouquet of dried flowers.
Yeah.
And they're still like intact.
Yep.
Like they look good still, even
Yeah.
though they're dry.
Yep, so that's what these are. These are good for that,
And
as well as straw flower, which is this one. So these ones are really good. So there's probably some in the store that are from like last year or something.
I would probably like.
And these are pretty easy to get that bottom stem off. So, you know, we're starting to get... I'll probably arrange it a little bit better.
Yeah.
You want to make sure it looks good on all sides too.
Of course.
Yeah, so I usually try and make the center of the flower bouquet like a little bit higher and kind of come down in a cone shape. But people do it in different ways. You don't have to do it that way. It's just the easiest for me to do.
Okay.
And some flowers, like the zinnias, usually need a little support to like hold them up. So I generally put those in the center and then the other flowers around it to hold it up. All right, so we got a few from over here. Let's go. The flowers on that side of the garden didn't really do so well this year because that's probably the least sunny part of the flower patch. And also those were ones that flower earlier in the season. So some of these don't last all season. So there's going to be some bare spots in there. I like that orange one. I had to get that one. All right, let's head this
pretty.
way. So this is a really nice flower too. It's not a cut flower, but it's called a dinner plate hibiscus. And this is a perennial that comes back.
Sorry, I think I'm on the wrong side.
Yeah. I'm trying to find. So I like saving seeds from that. So the seeds eventually will be in here. They're not ready yet. But those flowers dry up.
It's those big ones, right?
Yeah. But they have to be, they turn almost black, these seed pods. So that's in like about a month.
Oh,
I'll come out here.
Is it these ones?
Yeah, so that one is one that didn't produce seeds. So that didn't get pollinated in some way. So not all of them have seed pods in them. But this one does. But I'll come back in about a month to harvest those.
You know if the cherry tomatoes are open to picking?
They are, yeah.
Okay.
So there's some on the left and there's some on the right. And then, do you take those ones out that are on the right-hand side?
Which one?
I saw you guys removing tomatoes.
No, they're still there.
Okay. And then also in a couple of the greenhouses, there's tomatoes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You might have to wander around because it's getting to the end of the season.
All right.
Okay. I think I saw a pot here. I'm just gonna zoom it.
Oh, I forgot. I have a dead butterfly that I need to get from the greenhouse.
Dead butterfly?
Yeah, I found, you know what monarch butterflies? The orange ones. They're orange and black.
Oh,
You definitely know what they are.
Yeah,
So they're
I
called
know.
monarch butterflies. They're actually endangered now, which is kind of sad. But I found one dried up in the greenhouse, like perfectly preserved.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. So that's, this is pretty much the end of most of our annual flowers. If you notice that we don't have, we usually don't grow the perennial flowers underneath the black plastic. So these rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, all have different kinds of perennial flowers in them. You can't tell now because they flower usually once a year and then they're done. So in here we had spring daffodils. So those were in the springtime. So they flower and then they're pretty much done after that. And then we also had lupines here, which did the same. So we try and, put all the annuals together in the perennials. So it doesn't really look like we have many flowers here right now, but that's because they've already all done their job for the season. Oh, we might have some seeds on this one. So this one is called a gay feather, and it's a purple perennial. So all of this right here,
Those are seeds.
yeah, there's like hundreds of seeds.
Oh,
So
my
and see how they have,
word.
the way this plant works is they have these little tendrils on the bottom of it, so it catches the air. That's why they produce it like that. So this is one that pretty much has grown, so it will seed itself. See, it has like a little bit of hair on the end of it. That's so it catches the wind easier and spreads out easier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's like hundreds of seeds on these ones. This
There's
one's
a
still
lot of
not
seeds.
quite dry enough, but almost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
if
like
it's
this,
like
you can
this-
feel, see how easily they come off and go in the wind. So that one's
Yeah.
ready. You can feel it's just a little bit more dry
So
than
it
this
should
one.
be blown by air.
Yeah.
The wind.
Yep. It's actually quite clever that the plant like does that. It like produces a seed. A lot of the times tree seeds will come in like a little paper thing. So it's like a paper disc with a seed on the inside, and it catches in the wind faster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll come back and probably get some of those as well. And now move on to my favorite. My favorite.
Your favorite?
Yeah, the dahlias.
Oh, yeah.
So dahlias they're a bulb that you have to dig out. Here, we have to dig them out of the ground. So they have a tuber on the bottom of the plant. So when it freezes, after the ground freezes and the plant dies, we come in and we'll dig up the tuber that's underground and save them for the next year. Like I said, some of the ones like a little further south, you could just leave this in the ground and it would come back. But
Like even back at home, like in South Africa, we have dahlias. We never dig them out.
yeah, because you're warmer. And sometimes these will come back here, but not always. And just to be safe, we always dig them out. And this is another way that we use to help support the flowers, this netting right here. So if you put posts in and lay the netting sideways, it helps hold the flowers up. You just have to make sure that you put the netting on before the flowers get too big. So I forgot to do it on this row, and if you can see on that row, the flowers are kind of all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't get to it in time, so that's an excellent way to hold up and support flowers that are taller, like dahlias. A lot of people do it with snapdragons, which are spring flowers. So yeah, it works really well. Doesn't look as nice, but it works well. So dahlias are all different shapes, sizes, colors. I don't even know how many varieties of dahlias there are. There's probably like 400 varieties of dahlias. Same thing with a dahlia. So here, you want to go down, and I usually do it at a leaf break. And cut that. A lot of the times, let's find an example. See, even that one's a dahlia. That one's really cute. I'm going to take that one.
I think I like the dark dahlias more.
Yeah, the
Like
darker
dark
colored
purple.
ones.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, flowers like these straw flowers, they'll continue to open up after you pick them, even in a flower bouquet. So a lot of times you want to get them when they're like slightly more closed and they open up in the flower bouquet. Dahlias are one of the few flowers that it won't open more after you pick it. So you want it to be fully opened. Like that one wouldn't spread open, but these ones will open more. Not the zinnias are already fully opened anyway. So, and the other thing is, all right, let's get this guy. So when you cut the dahlia and pull the leaves off. The other thing is, a lot of times you have to sacrifice a couple flowers. These would have more flowers on them. But in order to, you know, harvest this flower, I had to pull off 2 little buds. Otherwise, it would be really short. Those tend to wilt in flower bouquets, so I usually snip those off. So now I'll kind of throw a few dahlias in there. I see a really pretty red one at the end. Let's go down there. I like that one. So these are a more valuable flower because they last longer. So these are a higher end flower too. Like these little straw flowers and salvias. See, I'm not working fast enough. When you're making flower bouquets too, you want to work quickly to get the flowers in water. This is not like the perfect time. I'd usually do it early in the morning. But since I'm chatting so much, see those got a little wilty? So I might end up pulling those salvias out of there. I forgot what I was talking about. Dahlias. They're more expensive.
Dahlias that were,
Yeah.
you were saying that.
They're more expensive because they last longer. They're harder to grow. They're more expensive. You can't.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really hard to have them start by seed. And a lot of people just buy tubers, and some of the tubers, if you look at all the fancy dahlia companies, some of the tubers are like $10 a piece. But they know exactly the variety. Like the woman who, these are hybrids, so she's bred these flowers. So she knows the exact variety, but she has it, what she does is she writes it on the tuber of the flower. So she doesn't know until she digs them up. All right, I see a pretty red one down here. Let's go get that one.
These are the ones that I was thinking about.
Yeah, look at those red ones.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm coming for. Chink. So see how I kind of keep it higher on the top? And, you know, put some low-lying flowers like that. The salvias I'm going to ditch because they look a little wilty now. But, oh, see, there's a monarch. See that orange butterfly right there? That's a monarch. They fly from here to Mexico.
You say they are now endangered?
They're now endangered, yeah.
Oh, my word. They're so beautiful.
But there's a national park.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot here, but apparently their numbers are dwindling, and they're not making their way to Mexico as much. There's a national park in Mexico where they all go down, and you can go down at a certain time of the year, and it's full of monarchs. It's supposed to be really cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we got that done, but I might throw a couple of little accent flowers in. This is a verbena, actually. This is all from saved seed from last year, this whole purple flower patch. All right.
I think I'm on the wrong side.
Again. So yeah, I just take a couple of those little accent flowers,
Oh,
add them in there,
beautiful.
and then the final thing I do is you want to make sure all the stems are equal, because when you put it in a vase, it's going to shift it around. So I usually go through and there you have it. And then just change the water every day and you'll be good to go. So we're selling these out front of the store, so I'll take a rubber band, tie it around there, and I usually keep my rubber band kind of higher up on the stems to just hold it together a little more.
That looks beautiful.
Yeah.
That looks so, so, so beautiful.
One of the things I like to do too, to challenge myself, I haven't done it much this year,
Oh, that
is
looks so beautiful.
to do all red or all purple or all yellow.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I like all yellow, but we don't have a lot of yellow flowers this year.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
That looks beautiful.
All right. So, I'm showing you guys our composter today. This is our Eco Drum in-vessel composter. It has a top loading system up at the top of the drum, and then it exits down at the bottom of the drum. I will show you that after we're done filling it. So what we do is we collect food scraps from the restaurant that we put into these 20-gallon buckets. And then we also have some of the discharge that we usually reload into the bucket. So we climb up this staircase. Open the top drawer. You gotta watch out because the door is really heavy. There's also different implements you can get for this composter. So there's different attachments you can get to help load the composter. Some of them have little wings that attach to the inside of this because a tractor bucket is a lot wider than the opening door. So you can get those to add on to this so you can load it with a tractor. We didn't realize that. We built this structure before we found that out, and you can't fit a tractor under here. So we have to hand load it. So I usually climb down this ladder. We're still in the process of building a ramp. Take the loading bucket, put it on here, throw it in. And then you always want to keep the composter completely full to the brim because it works better and it heats up better when it's completely full. And the drum itself is a 4 foot diameter. 4 foot diameter is the perfect diameter for a compost pile. So when you're done, we give that a close. So I have it rotating 3 times a day. And we have a fan on it as well. I'll show you the fan.
You do what 3 times a day?
You can set this to rotate so it spins.
Okay.
And that's what makes the compost come out of it. And we have it set to rotate. You can do up to 3 times a day. I have it rotating every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Okay.
And the reason why I only have it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is because you want to keep it really full. And I didn't want to have to load it every day.
Oh yeah.
And you don't really need to take all the compost out every day.
Yeah.
So Laura's food scraps are the main thing we want to get rid of. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday it's easiest. And I just have it rotating once a day. You can do it about 4 times a day. After one rotation, it probably takes about 60 gallons to fill it. So 3 of these buckets full. She usually doesn't have that much in food scraps. So if we don't fill them with if there's not enough food scraps, we'll take the existing compost from the static compost pile where all the animal bedding is, and I'll add that to it. And then another thing I like to do, so it takes about 60 gallons, and then every time it spins, it sends out about 20 gallons. So for every 60 you put in, you get 20 out.
Okay.
So this is where it comes out. It just comes out every time it rotates. There's like a little grabbing tool in there, and gravity just kind of sends it down that shaft. A lot of the times though, if you notice, there's a lot of like chunky things at the bottom here.
Oh yeah, I see those.
Yeah, so what happens is things that are round, like an eggshell, or say if I put a head of cabbage in there, or even if the soil clumps together and starts to form something kind of circular, the way the compost is it's kind of at an angle. So if it's a circle, a lot of the times it'll roll out before it's actually done.
Okay.
So what you want to do is take all those chunks that look like they're not really fully broken down, and I'll reload those. So that's what I was doing right now, is I was taking all this this chunky matter here, and I'll throw that back in. So we do the food scraps and the existing compost pile from the animal barns, and then I'll reload anything that I think came out too fast.
Okay. What are these ones? Sorry.
So those are called bio balls, and what they're actually used for is they're used for in fish farms. Because the foundation does a lot of fisheries research. They had a bunch of bio balls that they had left over, and one of the things I was worried about in this compost is I noticed it was it wasn't getting very aerated. So those, now they're all clogged up because they've been in there for a couple years, but they had holes in them, so it kind of fluffed the soil up in there.
Oh.
So I added them into the compost to see if I could create some air pockets in there
Okay.
to make it lighter. So now they've just been coming out, but yeah, you can see they're now so old that they're like really clogged.
Yeah.
So they're probably not doing anything now. But in the beginning they did. Now there's just too much stuff in them. Probably like clean that out, but
Yeah.
I mean a lot of work. We also put cardboard, plant scraps, anything like that in it. And then also there's a temperature gauge on the center part. So there's the temperature. Right now it's at 80 degrees, which is not good. You really want it to be, compost is supposed to be in between 131 and 141, because after 131 it kills like weed seeds. You know what I mean? Like it'll kill seeds. So there, if you throw weeds or anything that you don't want in there, it kills pathogens. Any kind of bacteria, bad bacteria. But if you get above 141, then it starts killing good stuff.
Oh.
So you want it in between those two, which we don't have it in between those two. It's very low. So that's why a lot of times I'll reload it as well, just because that's, if we were to be throwing like meat or anything like that in there, which we actually do, that means it just hasn't been broken down enough. So the way we combat that is I'll just let it sit for a lot longer until it's safe to use, or we just apply it in the winter.
Okay.
You don't want to put it right on like a fresh lettuce because you're just eating the leaf of it.
Oh yeah.
So what we do is we'll put the compost. I
So
use
it takes
this.
some time to compose as well.
Yeah, so in the
Compost.
winter I'll throw it on the fields, and that way, by when we plant stuff, it's tilled in enough. So, and then this is the fan. So yeah, it has the rotation setting, which you can change. You can even set it to do. So it'll do it by itself. It takes about 20 minutes to rotate. But you can set it to your own schedule, so you can have it. Like say if I went on holiday, I could turn it off, or I could have it. It's very specific how you can set it to. You can set the time it rotates. I usually like to have it rotate in the morning, around 10, because that way it hasn't. Usually throughout the day it'll heat up, and then it'll cool off at nighttime. So I like to open it when it's cool rather than opening it and letting all that heat that's built up over the day out.
Oh yeah.
So I try and open it only in the morning time. That doesn't always happen though.
Okay.
And then over here, there's a fan setting. So that fan you can set for as long as, you could have it go the whole day if you want. I have it going for 20 minutes every 2 hours.
Okay.
Because I found our compost we have more of a problem with moisture. It gets too wet in there. So I have to try and aerate it and keep it dry. So I have it rotating quite a bit. And then I haven't been doing this recently, but we do have like a temperature, time, and ingredients loading log that we fill out. So we know exactly what we've put in there. We can see any like patterns with temperature. And then this is the control panel right here. Ooh, it's buggy. So this is like the fan setting.
Okay.
This is the fan setting. This is the rotation setting. So you can actually like manually spin it. So if you wanted to turn it on right now, you could just click it to auto.
Okay.
And then there's a light sensor. This sensor, right? You hear that? So that sensor, when it flips and reaches that spot, then it automatically turns off.
Oh,
So that's how it knows when to stop. There's a sensor in it. And then this is the emergency stop, because I have actually forgotten what time of day it's been spinning and had to turn it off really quickly. So it's like a safety stop. And then these are all the settings. So you can set the drum and the fan separately. And there's a bunch of different settings, time, blah, blah, blah. So it takes a little time to figure out how to set it.
Yeah.
So usually I'll set it and I'll leave it for a while. Like I haven't changed the setting in a while. I'd probably have to look at the directions again to figure out how to do it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions about it?
Nope, I don't have any question. I think you've explained everything very well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's they're expensive. I think it was $37,000 for this machine.
Oh, $37,000.
Dollars. Yeah, but we
Thank-
did get a grant through the Shaw Foundation and somebody who just like liked the work that we did.
Yeah.
So they actually paid for the machine for us to produce compost. And initially we had
beautiful.
thought about selling compost. There's a lot of different permits and things that you need to get in order to sell compost. And honestly, we use all of it. We don't need to sell it because we'll use like every piece of compost that we have.
Okay.
So we haven't gotten to that point where there's excess. So.
Okay. It uses electricity or is it solar?
It uses electricity, but we have it set up to solar panels. So we have solar panels on top of this roof. So if you had solar panels, you could hook it up to that, which is what we have. But yeah, if you don't have solar panels on your roof, then you'd have to hook it up to electricity.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Thank you so much, Allison. Thank you very much. I think that was really clear.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video and you have learned a lot. If you haven't, hit the subscription button. It's not too late. You can do it right now, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.